We're on page 3 of the Exam 2 review, looking at number 9. We want to write the equation of the line with the given properties. Now, most of the time, we're going to be using y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So what this is called point slope. So here's your slope. We'll plug in whatever we get there for slope. And then you're also going to plug in a point. So here's the y-coordinate of your point, and here's the x-coordinate. So this is why it's called point slope, is because that's what you plug in. Once we get that, we can go back and solve it for y. So for part A, notice we're given exactly what we need. So here is my x1, here's my y1, and here's my slope. So I'm going to plug in y minus, in place of y1, I'll put a 1. That's going to equal a slope of 2/5 times x minus my x-coordinate, which is -1. So I get y minus 1 equals 2/5 times x plus 1. We always want to go back and solve these for y, so I do need to distribute. I get y minus 1 equals 2/5 x plus 2/5 times 1 would be 2/5. All right, so when I continue solving this, I do have to add 1 to each side. So I get y equals 2/5 x plus 2/5 plus 1. So I need a common denominator. So I'm thinking what I'll do here is I'll take the 1 out, and instead of 1, I'm going to write that as 5/5. Right? That's still equal to 1, but it gives me a common denominator. So now I can put these together, and I get y equals 2/5 x plus 7/5. All right, and that's how we're going to write all of our equations. Now for B, I have a point, but I don't have a slope. So I do need to find my slope first. So remember, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So if I go back and label, I feel like we've done this a lot, x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, so my slope is going to be 10 minus 4 in the numerator and -3 minus 3 in the denominator. That gives me 6 over -6, and that gives me a slope of -1. All right, so remember, we're plugging into this formula. All right, so let's see if I can color code this. My y1 is right here. So that's going to become y minus 4 equals, my slope is right here, so that number goes there. So that'll be -1. And then, let's find another color. My y1 is right there, so it's going to replace right here. So x minus 3. All right, so if I distribute the negative, I get y minus 4 equals -x plus 3. I add 4 to both sides. No fractions this time, that's kind of nice. And I get y equals -x plus 7. All right, now C is a little tricky. Notice that we see the slope is undefined. If you remember from the previous page, we know the slope is undefined when it is a vertical line. So if you remember the format for a vertical line, it's always x equals something. So if I take a look at the point that I'm given, here's my x and here's my y. So I want that x value, and I'm going to put it right here. So that's going to give me the equation of my vertical line, which is x equals 11. All right, so continuing with the writing equations of lines, I want to write the equation of the line that passes through this point and is parallel to the given line. So remember, parallel means same slope. So I know my point, I need my slope. So I'm going to find the slope of the given line, and I'm going to do that by solving it for y. So first I'm moving the x to the other side where it changes signs, and then I'm dividing by 4. So I get y equals 2/4 which reduces to 1/2 x plus 2. All right, so here is my slope, and I know since my line is parallel, it should have the same slope. So the slope of the line I'm looking for is also going to be 1/2. So now I've got my information. I've got a point and I've got a slope. So I can use my formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. My y coordinate is 3, so y minus 3. My slope is 1/2, and that's going to be x minus a negative 6. All right, so y minus 3 equals 1/2 times x plus 6. I still need to solve for y, so I'm going to distribute that 1/2. And that's going to be 1/2 x plus half of 6 is just 3. So then to get y by itself, I add my 3 to both sides, and I get my equation as y equals 1/2 x plus 6. All right, number 11 is very similar, except instead of parallel, I'm doing perpendicular. So remember here, the slopes are going to be negative reciprocals. We talked a little bit about that on the previous page. So I've got my given line, so let's solve it for y. I'm going to start by moving the 4x to the other side, where it becomes a negative 4x. The 7 stays positive because it didn't change sides. And then I'm just going to divide through by negative 1. So I get y equals 4x minus 7. Now this is my given line, so it has a slope of 4. So if I think about the slope of my perpendicular line, I need a negative reciprocal. So if this is 4 over 1, I need a negative 1 over 4. So I have to flip the fraction and I have to change the sign. So now I've got all the information I need. Here's my slope and here's my point. So I'm ready to plug into my formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 5 equals negative 1/4 times x minus 2. I'm going to distribute that negative 1/4. That'll be negative 1/4 x. Now remember, a negative times a negative will give me a positive. And 1/4 times 2 is 2/4, or we could reduce that to 1/2. All right, I'm almost done. I do need to add 5 to both sides. So I get y equals negative 1/4 x plus 1/2. And I'm going to take this 5 and I'm going to write it as 10 over 2. So 10 over 2 is still 5, but it gives me a common denominator. So I end up with y equals negative 1/4 x plus 11 over 2.